is a crisis in the classroom story that we have covered for years. Threats of violence at area schools. Earlier this month, a shooting inside Wooten High School in Rockville. A Gaithersburg teen now facing charges after allegedly making threats on Instagram against that same school. In Fairfax County, concerns after a student makes violent threats against a middle school and administrators readmit her following suspension. Here to discuss the prevalence of school violence and what can be done to stop it is James Densley, co-founder of the Violence Prevention Project Research Center. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your organization has a database that provides valuable information about school shootings. How frequently are we seeing them happen?
Unfortunately, I think a firearm actually enters into a K-12 school in the United States every day. The good news is that actual shootings are trending downward, but that was after some record highs around the time of the pandemic. So depending how you define this, we could be looking at hundreds of cases in a given year across the country. So it definitely is a major concern for parents, families, and school administrators.
Why do you think they are trending downward?
You know, there's a lot of noise and a lot of speculation about this has happened. It seems to be related to the downward trend in violence across the country after that pandemic period. And a lot of people think because a lot of school violence is spillover of community violence, where whatever's going on in a community impacts the school itself, that this is why we're seeing a downward trend. When the community violence goes down, then the school violence goes down too. At the same time, though, as your story is alluding to on the front end, a lot of threats of school violence, and those are really increasing, particularly with the rise of social media and AI. It's a lot easier to send a threat now, and that's becoming an increasing concern for schools.
And we're seeing school officials in this area and around the country evaluating strategies to prevent additional violence. Tell me what is going to be the most effective at protecting students?
Well, I think the key factor here is that whenever you think about school violence, it tends to be perpetrated by school children. They're either current or former students of the school, which means the schools have eyes and ears on these students day in, day out. And so a lot of this is about building the right relationships and then building the right systems so that you can spot the risk factors for violence and get upstream of it. So some people would call this behavioral threat assessment, for instance, which sounds a little bit like jargon, but what we're really talking about is providing a system that if you're worried about a student, you can engage in some conversations about them and get them connected to the help and services that they might need before they ever bring a gun to school and pull the trigger. So many of our responses are technological. We think about metal detectors and cameras and other things. That's all a bit too late because the students are walking in and out of those buildings every single day. And so what we've got to do better at is actually paying attention to the human beings that are right there in front of us.
And we're seeing that Georgia father on trial right now, more than a year after his teenage son carried out a shooting. Does more need to be done to hold parents accountable?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are seeing some cases now in recent years. Oxford, Michigan was another one where parents have been held accountable for facilitating access to firearms predominantly. And so I think this is another big tip for parents, which is if you've got somebody in your life that you're concerned about that might be in a crisis, might be contemplating violence, that's the time to be making sure that they are separate from those firearms, that they are distanced from those firearms. And so everything we can do around secure storage of firearms and just slowing down the process of procuring them is really important. So yeah, parents play a vital role in this. They play a vital role in paying attention to the behaviors of their children. And then they play a really important role in terms of slowing down that access to firearms if there are guns in the home.
James Densley, co-founder of the Violence Prevention Project Research Center. We thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.